The following information is intended for educational purposes only. It is not medical advice. The views expressed do not necessarily reflect those of Rood Awakening International nor this broadcaster. Should you choose to implement this information, please do so only with the assistance of a licensed medical professional. Neither the presenter, Rood Awakening International, nor this broadcaster assume any responsibility for any adverse effects or consequences that may result.
Today we're talking to Billy Wease. He's a pharmacist, but he likes to see you as healthy as possible, minimize your drugs, get you on a healthy lifestyle program, and get you involved in CrossFit. Let's talk more with Billy Wease. Welcome to the Health Awakening. I'm your host, Scott Laird. There's something wrong with how we live in America. A majority of people are overweight and getting bigger. I think we all know that. We have some of the most elaborate, advanced, and most expensive so-called health care in the world. And yet Americans are the sickest nation on earth. Our infant mortality rate is among the highest of the first world countries. Did you know that? And our life expectancy ranks 31st in the world. And yet next door in Canada, they rank 12th. So what's going on? Our guest today is going to shed some light on this problem and offer a very simple solution. He started off as a pharmacist and now helps people get off their drugs as much as possible through his lifestyle construction program and upcoming book, The 21st Century Pharmacist. Please welcome Billy Wease. Welcome to the program, Billy.
Thanks for having me.
All right, so the lifestyle construction program. We talk about how everyone is overweight, and obviously this is a widespread problem. First of all, there's a new name for this program. What is it called?
Opti Life RX.
Opti Life RX. Okay, so it's previously known as the Lifestyle Construction Program. And on the previous program, I noticed you had 5 pillars. Is that the same with the new program?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
so pillars are the same.
Yeah, go ahead. Explain to us what these 5 pillars are. What's the first and most important pillar?
Well, God-given quality foods, because food is information to our body, and if we don't give the body the right information, we won't get optimal results. I often teach and have a picture in my presentation of an Aston Martin. So we have a very expensive piece of machinery, and if they tell me to put a certain type of fuel in it for it to run optimally, that's certainly what I would do if I'd spent that kind of money on a vehicle. And I often tell people, but in America today, we take the most important machine we have, which is our own bodies, and we're looking for the dollar menu, or we're looking for a value, and we're just confused in America about what really is high quality foods and what isn't, because there's so much misinformation put out.
Right. Now, speaking of high quality foods, there are several diets out there, a lot of diets out there. And of course, some, like you're familiar with the Halia diet that I used to work with. And that's something that I hold close to my heart because both of my parents had colon cancer, and obviously meat is a problem for my body makeup. But that's not the case with everybody. You start with something very basic that everybody can handle. Where do you start with telling people get off the dollar menu and get onto something better?
Well, we talk a lot about high quality fat, actually, which I know that's kind of taboo today.
Yeah.
But actually the body's survival fuel is fat. The body's #1 energy source is fat. So we talk a lot about getting high quality fats, not the trans fats, not the vegetable oils, not the things that we're told are healthy in many cases, but the things that science actually shows that work.
Okay, so what does work? What is a healthy fat that people should be consuming more of?
Well, we use a lot of unrefined coconut oils. We use a lot of grass-fed butters. We use good quality fats from omega-3 fats from grass-fed, grass-finished beef. Those type of fats are what we're looking for. And you mentioned the meat issue with your family. One of the 4 products that I've developed, supplements that I developed, is a digestive enzyme. So I don't think that meat necessarily is a problem when it's the right high quality grass-fed, grass-finished meat. And more importantly, undigested meats and proteins and fats are the problem. So we want to make sure that our bodies are digesting the foods that we take in on a regular basis.
Thus the enzyme.
Correct, thus the enzymes.
Very good. Now you have on the table here a model or models, one of a pound of fat and a pound of muscle. And we can see that the muscle is a lot smaller than the fat. When you use this in your presentation for your program, what are you trying to illustrate here?
Well, a couple of things, Scott, are very important here. So many Americans seem to be obsessed with how much do I weigh, rather than what is my body made up of, which is much more important to our health. So muscle to fat ratio is one of the top biomarkers for long-term health. So we talk about it from that aspect. We have an epidemic, it seems, of skinny obesity in America, where folks can be really thin on the outside but have a lot of fat around their organs on the inside, called visceral fat. And this is actually the most dangerous fat to our health. And so we measure that at the beginning and the end of our 12-week program, and we can show people how those numbers can change.
So now, obviously, on the outside, we have the old calipers that you could measure fat with around your waist and things. But how would you measure visceral fat if you can't see it on the outside?
Yeah, well, we have an in-body unit that many professional sports teams and clinics, metabolic clinics will use. And it uses some technology called bioimpedance, which I can't really explain to you. Okay. But it's able to run an electrical pulse through our bodies and measure the fat that's actually around our organs.
Okay, and you said that's some of the most dangerous fat. How do people start getting rid of that fat? What's the quote-unquote magic formula?
Well, we have to control the hormone systems in our body, and that's why I say we need to think of food as information and not as calories. Okay, one of the things we don't do is, first of all, it's not a diet, and we are not counting calories, we're not weighing or measuring, we're not worried about points. We're worried about making sure that what we eat is adequate and that it gives the right information to our body. And that can be great tasting food, Scott, and that's how the body will then say, I can release fat, I don't need to hold on to fat anymore.
Okay, and that's how you start burning it. You're just playing with those signals and giving the body the right signals, right? Okay, yes. So now there are 4 more pillars we haven't talked about yet. We are talking with Billy Wease about the Lifestyle Construction Program, or better known as
Opti Life RX.
Opti Life RX. Thank you, Billy.
Yes.
And we'll have to take a short break, but stay with us. We will be right back with more of The Health Awakening.
Michael Rood's message of truth is broadcast all over the world, but none of it happens without the monthly financial support of our Ambassador Club members. And right now, membership has more benefits than ever.
I'm giving into a ministry that is helping to feed other people that have the same hunger that I do.
The Ambassador Club stands out to me because Michael brings it forth with such zeal and life and truth. Who in the world else you gonna give to get the truth out and to share it with the world?
The Ambassador Club, we were given the opportunity on a monthly basis to know that we are giving our funds to a purpose that would make a difference, not only in our lives, but those around about us and in our world.
We're an ambassador because we feel like we're helping the world in a small way. And we feel so blessed that we could be a part of that.
Join now, and Michael Rood will send you the Ambassador Club Welcome Kit, an exclusive messenger bag stocked with teaching DVDs, Red Sea crossing cards to spread the word, and more. You'll also receive ambassador-only bonus gifts whenever you make a separate donation to receive the monthly love gift from Rood Awakening International. Best of all, you'll get ambassador-only sale prices in our online bookstore several times throughout the year. Plus, exclusive invitations to Ambassador Club functions at Rood Awakening events. Join the Ambassador Club right now. All it takes is a modest commitment of $100 per month or an annual gift of $1,200. We'll send your welcome kit right away, and you can start enjoying your love gift bonus items immediately. Call now or visit the Rood Awakening website to join the Ambassador Club.
Think of food as information, okay? And that information sends hormonal signals, which is where we're going tonight, which is what the whole class is about. And so those hormonal signals will tell the body, hey, it's okay to burn fat. It's okay to let go of weight. It's okay to let go of water. Or they'll say, it's not, and I need to hold on to it.
And welcome back to the Health Awakening. Before the break, we were talking with our guest pharmacist Billy Wease about high-quality fats. This, however, is not high-quality fat. This is the bad kind of fat. This is a model of visceral fat, or just
a pound of fat in general.
This is a pound of fat, and then this is the pound of muscle on the table. So
correct.
So the pound of fat, what are some things that we don't want fat for? What are we causing?
Well, one of the
here?
big issues with an extra pound of fat, with every extra pound of fat, we add about 250 miles of vessels that the heart and the kidneys have to pump against and work against. So obviously that can contribute to extra loads on our heart, blood pressure issues, extra loads on our kidneys, and so just a myriad of issues can come from having too much fat.
Right, because we think of fat of just being a glob, but no, there's vessels in there.
Correct.
Because it needs to be fed by something in the body. So we're creating extra miles that the body has to, or the heart has to travel, like you said.
That's correct, and it makes it very hard. Also, fat doesn't burn nearly as many, a pound of fat doesn't burn nearly as many calories as a pound of muscle. So metabolically, muscle gives us much more energy and much more efficient fuel for our body.
Okay, now we talked about fat, and like you talked about muscle. Everybody thinks protein when they think of muscle. So we're going to get into proteins and carbs in a second here. But the name change, Opti Life RX. Now, first of all, we were talking about during the break that we want people to know that you're not against doctors. You're not against dropping all your meds or you're going to die type of stuff like this. You're about getting people healthy. So the name change is to remind people of what?
Well, I am a pharmacist. My wife's a pharmacist. My father's a pharmacist. I have 2 other pharmacists on my team, the Opti Life RX team. So we want to make sure people understand that we're well educated, we're well informed. I actually went back to the Medical Metabolic Institute and obtained a fellowship in metabolic and nutritional medicine. So this is not guesswork. We're using science, we're using the best technology, we're using the results of thousands of people who've come off as many as 21 meds and 5 insulin shots, working, of course, with their physician. The reason that so many people, I believe, are maintained on drugs so long is, number one, they don't know what kind of changes to make, and they're not being taught. And number two, a lot of people aren't willing to make the changes necessary. And that's what we hope that our 12-week program tells them and shows them, is exactly what to do, exactly what the science says behind it, so that they understand why they're doing it. And when they do that, they can make a lifestyle change, because it's not about the 12 weeks, it's about learning to do this forever, because it tastes great, it's fun. I'm not having to struggle to get through. It is not a diet. We're not counting calories. We're not doing the things that the typical plans are having people do.
Right, so this is like going to school to learn how to live the rest of your life. Just as you would go to school to learn a career, you're learning how to eat for the rest of your life.
That's exactly what we're teaching people how to do.
Not even just eat, but live. But let's get back to the eat thing for a second. So protein.
Yes.
What are we talking about when we talk about a high quality protein?
Yeah, we talk high fat and we talk adequate protein. So we want to make sure that the body is getting plenty of protein, because the 2 fuels that the body really needs, I've said that fat is the #1 fuel. It's the most efficient fuel for our body. But the body also needs protein to survive. It is what keeps the lean muscle mass, lean muscle around. So we need to make sure that we get adequate protein, but we don't go crazy with protein.
So how much is too much? I know there's a lot of debate about that.
Yeah, we're not measuring, we're not weighing. What we teach people to do is eat the high quality foods until they're satisfied.
Okay.
And then we come back when we're hungry again, because one of the biggest issues that we see with people is people can't lose fat because they don't give the body enough fuel. And so the body is saying, hey, I've got to hold on to this fat. There's a famine here. And that's why we tell people it's not a diet. Most people actually say, I'm eating more food than I've ever eaten. It tastes great, and I'm having to buy new belts or new clothes or new pants. As a matter of fact, I just had a guy who 8 weeks in had lost 40 pounds. And one of the things that amazed him the most was he said, I'm eating more food than I normally eat. I feel better than I've normally felt. I'm off all my medications. I'm sleeping for the first time. I'm pain-free. And he did it all just by giving the body the right information through food, water, supplements, you know, the 5 pillars.
Wow. And so that again, that goes back to, you know, eating till you're satisfied. That's our God-given signals in the body. You talked about signals and hormones. We're given all the tools we need to recognize when we've had enough food and whether it's good food or not, but we've sort of lost that sensitivity as to how to read these signals. Now let's get into carbs real quick before we go to the next break. People get confused about carbs. They think, oh, I've got to cut out carbs. That means all vegetables too, and everything. But there's a difference there,
wrong.
Is there not?
That's absolutely wrong.
So tell us what's right.
Quality carbs. We talk about quality carbohydrates. We want people to eat tons of greens, unlimited greens. We're encouraging greens.
Unlimited
We're begging
greens.
them to eat greens.
Okay.
Yeah, because it's great. Full of nutrition, full of nutrients, vitamins and minerals, full of fiber. I mean, all the things that God designed our bodies to have are in the greens. So we want to make sure that we're putting plenty of greens in the body on a daily basis. We go so far as to understand that 25% of Americans adult Americans say that the only vegetable they eat in a week is a French fry.
Wow.
Well, I got news for them. That's not really a vegetable, right? So yeah, we're not cutting carbs at all. We want people to eat good quality carbs and lots of them.
Okay. So good quality carbs. We talked about greens real quick. What about grains?
Yeah, we're avoiding all grains if at all possible.
Okay.
If you know what wheat and gluten can do to the body and you understand the science, which we teach in the 12 weeks, it's pretty easy to see why most people don't function well with those types of foods.
So it's a type of paleo diet where they avoid grains as well, sort of like that?
Yeah, we don't really want to be paleo. We're not saying that we're paleo. I think that we've combined, I hope that we have combined with science the best of all those kind of words that are out there. I like to think of this as our own Opti Life plan.
All right.
So it does have some paleo components.
Well, we'll talk more about that in a second. So we're talking with Billy Wease about reconstructing your lifestyle for a lifetime of better health. We have to take a short break. Stay with us. We will be right back.
The lives of Israeli victims hang critically in the balance following events of terror, violence, and war. But there's another painful problem: men, women, and children living in poverty. And you can be there for them. Visit us online at thelydiaproject.com. You'll find personal stories from the people who need you and the information you need to make a difference in their lives. When you give to the Lydia Project, you enable us to send help. Emotional and spiritual encouragement are especially needed during these critical days of recovery. Your support enables our ground team in the land of Israel to function as Yehovah intended, providing for the wounded soldiers, widows, orphans, and the poor. Help Israel. Give to the Lydia Project.
Michael Rood's Love Gift Teaching Series, The Ministry of the Messiah, is among his most popular series ever. And now there's a way to ensure you get every new episode every month. Introducing recurring love gift donations. When you set up a recurring love gift donation of just $100 per month, you'll receive every love gift every month automatically. You'll get Michael's latest teaching in the Ministry of the Messiah series and each month's bonus gift. Plus, as an exclusive extra, you can get any teaching you've missed in the entire series from the first episode to the current episode. This special offer is only for those who set up recurring love gift donations. Call now or visit the Love Gift webpage to set up your recurring love gift donation. Every teaching, every gift, every month. Plus, access to any teaching you've missed along the way. Do it now and never miss out again.
I would say that what causes more fat gain than anything is not eating enough. When we eat the right things, number one, they're more filling. And number two, they send the proper hormonal signals to tell the body, hey, everything's okay, there's no famine,
Welcome back to the Health Awakening. Before the break, we were talking with our guest, Billy Wease, about greens and grains and meats and all kinds of high-quality food. And that is one of the 5 pillars of your program, Opti Life RX. And the 4th pillar in the 5 is exercise. And at the end of the last segment, people saw pictures of people working out. That's from your CrossFit gym.
Right.
And we'll talk about that in just a few minutes, but we want to talk about the other pillars first. We talked about food and proper digestion. We mentioned that I'm vegan just because I know that works with my body, but then you mentioned, well, maybe it's about digestion, not necessarily the food. And something that can help with that, of course, is supplements. And you have developed 4 supplements that you have found through your experience to be the best, one of which is a digestive enzyme. Let's talk about these supplements for a bit, the second pillar in your 5 pillars.
Yeah, well, what I wanted to do was develop 4 supplements that met the foundations that everybody can benefit from. And I wanted to have the highest quality with the best ingredients and the best synergy of ingredients. So I decided that I would develop and create my own supplements. So these are 4 proprietary supplements that I personally developed.
Now these, being a compounding pharmacist, you would understand the synergy of how these things work together, maybe not everybody knows. So this is great. You've come up with your own formulas. Now there's 4 things. There's a digestive enzyme, which we talked about. And during the break, you and I were talking about that it's not just good for one thing or the other. You formulated to take care of all types of foods because there's different enzymes that take care of different types of food.
Correct. So it's a broad spectrum enzyme that will catch fat, protein, and carbohydrates and help the body utilize the nutrition out of those more efficiently and get rid of the waste.
Okay, and that's the problem. That's the crux of the matter, isn't it? Where meat becomes a problem with people in their colon because the body doesn't expel it fast enough. I often tell people that it's not the meat that's the problem. Dogs eat meat all day long. It doesn't hurt them because they have a shorter intestinal system. But with humans, we don't digest it maybe properly as we should because our bodies are ill-equipped to deal with it this day and age. But if we have an enzyme, we can help hurry it along.
Absolutely. I mean, in today's world, we're just in such a hurry and we have all these things going and we're not eating enzyme-rich foods anymore like we used to. And so just giving the body what it needs, and as we age, we start to lose the ability to produce digestive enzymes as efficiently. So we just want to help the body along to work as well as it can in today's fast-paced world.
Right, and that it stresses the pancreas if we don't help it along, because that's where the enzymes come from, of course. And now the other 3 supplements, what else have we got here?
We have a probiotic because 70 to 80% of our immune system is in the gut. We need to make sure we keep a healthy immune system throughout our stomach. The other is a magnesium. I have a 5-salt magnesium that actually is designed to increase red blood cell magnesium, where we get over 350 positive enzymatic functions from magnesium. So that one deficiency can be huge, and so many prescription drugs and over-the-counter drugs today deplete magnesium levels.
As does stress and everything else.
Oh, it's certainly stress and working out and just life in general. Most Americans, when looked at, are magnesium deficient. And when we think of 350 positive functions such as sleep, energy, diabetes issues, I mean, all these things, overweight, it's just amazing. Headaches. I mean, this product is just amazing for a lot of things.
My wife takes 4 of your magnesium capsules whenever she feels a migraine coming on.
Yes.
And it can kill the migraine.
Absolutely. I mean, the research shows that it can have a profound effect on preventing and stopping migraines, restless legs, cramps. I mean, just a myriad of things we use it for.
So if people come up to you and say, generally, how many of these should I take a day? I mean, obviously don't want to prescribe so much, but how much do you recommend as a serving of this?
For the magnesium, we normally have people take between 2 and 4 at bedtime.
Okay. At bedtime, specifically at bedtime.
Yeah, it's very relaxing, so it helps people rest and sleep without any grogginess the next day. They get up and they're full of energy.
Okay, and the last one is a multivitamin. There's all kinds of vitamins out there, and there's all kinds of debate about whether vitamins are junk, you're wasting your money. What makes this one a good use of people's money?
Well, what I tell people that they have to make sure they look for is quality, number one. There's supplements everywhere, and they're not regulated by anyone except the person making them. So what we do is we only have these formulated in a certified good manufacturing practice, NSF facility. Pharmaceutical grade, the highest quality, sourced from the best ingredients around the world. And so it's just the active forms, it's everything that the body can utilize. It's not about how much is on a label, but what is the yield to my cells? What is the yield to the cells of my body that's important? So people get caught up in all this, what I'll call window dressing on all these supplements. They just put it there, they don't put it in amounts that really matter, and it may be forms that have no benefit to the human body and may even be toxic to the body.
These ones are the opposite, obviously.
Correct.
Now we only have a couple minutes left and we still have 3 pillars to go. So,
Right.
so let's talk about your third one.
The right water.
Okay, this is a big one, real quick.
Yes.
What's the right kind of water?
Well, the body is made up about 70 to 75% water as adults. So obviously God thought water was important, right? So I tell people we need to drink the best water we can. We want people to drink an ionized, and we teach them and make it available, an ionized alkaline water.
Okay, and this is typically what people call Kangen water.
Kangen water is the brand that I'm most familiar with, yes.
Okay, very good. Now, the Kangen water, as I understand it, it breaks up the water molecule, right? It's called microclustering, is that right?
It does. It sounds crazy to people, but it actually creates a smaller water molecule, the way that the ionization process works.
And what does that allow the body to do?
Well, first of all, it allows us to drink more water without it settling in our stomach, without that bloating feeling. And it allows more water to get into the cells, and it allows the ability for the body to produce more oxygen from the
Gotcha. Now, speaking of oxygen, that's something the body needs a lot of when you're exercising, and we mentioned CrossFit.
Yes.
That's just one, I guess, option for people to do, but your fourth pillar is exercise.
Yes, science-based exercise. There's a lot of research that says more people are burning muscle than they are fat when they're working out. So we want to make sure people are doing it based on science and based on measurement and based on results that we can measure. So we want to make sure that people are using resistance training or where they're building muscle. And so we have to incorporate that into our other types of exercise, and we certainly do that in our CrossFit.
All right, very good. And your last pillar is, real quick?
Rest and recovery, Scott.
Okay.
In America, we are so busy, we're rushed, we're trying to get the kids, and we're trying to get us where we need to be. So many of us neglect enough rest and recovery, and it's so important for our hormones and our overall health. It's how the body recovers. It's where the body takes out the trash, so to speak, called autophagy. All these great things happen, and that's why the magnesium product is so important.
So when you rest, if someone says, okay, well, rest, obviously that means sleep at night. So how much sleep is enough?
6 hours is definitely the minimum to get the hormone effects we want. If we can get more, it's better. 8 is ideal for an adult, more for children.
Okay, and is there any other secrets to rest and recovery?
We have all kind of little things that we like to do, but if we can give the body the fuel that it needs to sleep overnight, it won't wake up hungry, and that's what we try to do.
All right, well, there you have it. That is the name of it again?
Opti Life RX.
Opti Life RX, and you can find out more about that at billywease.com. Is that
and
correct?
OptiLifeRx.com
and OptiLifeRx.com. All right, thank you for joining us today. Our guest has been Billy Wease. You can watch the replay of this episode and see our complete show schedule on avivtv.com. And you can see all that Billy has to offer, like we said, including the program he has at billywease.com. And we will see you next time for another Health Awakening.